Today we are flipping through my newly finished wedding planning and honeymoon TN. Hey guys, Julia here. Welcome back. I knew I wanted to do something special to document the wedding planning process, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I knew that I didn't want to do a scrapbook because that was really intensive. And I knew that I didn't want to do a video or a vlog because it was just too daunting and I already had too many things on my plate. But over the last year, I had lots of fun with my TN on trips. They seemed manageable for me. And then a few rabbit holes later, I had the idea of having a wedding planning TN. And so the purpose of this video is to not only just flip through my wedding planning memory keeping, but to also maybe give some inspiration if you wanted to document your own wedding planning or just a big life event. I do want to preface this by saying that I didn't use this to actually plan my wedding. I used Notion for that, and I didn't really know how this was all going to come together in the moment, so it's not exactly chronological. Okay. So let's open it up here. Okay, so the first thing you see when you open it up are our wedding photos, our wedding logo that I made on my Cricut. So this is just white vinyl. My first engagement ring that I got while we were in Portugal, and some of the table flower decorations here that were sitting on some of the guest tables. And then flipping over just some other photos, our little charge card for where we stayed, our wedding night. And so this starts it off. And what started off this whole idea was the first rabbit hole of insert making. So I thought it would be fun to use some notepads and sketchbooks and things that I wasn't really using and maybe make some TN inserts. These particular inserts are made from cardstock and paper that were samples from our invitation suite. So while I was looking for different types of paper to use for our invitations, I was like, hey, this isn't necessarily a winner, but it's thick enough and matches the color scheme of our wedding, so I'll make a little insert. The inside paper isn't the best just because it's just from a sketchbook, and I, again, did not know what I was doing at the time. I was just having some fun, and so there is some feathering, there is some not great things with the paper, and if I could go back and knew what the finished product was going to be, I would have used nicer paper. But we're going to open it off with some vellum. I did have the foresight for some reason to use vellum there. This is a page about designing the wedding logo. If this happens to be your first video here with me, my husband and I are both graphic designers, so this was one of the most fun parts of wedding planning, was doing the whole branding of it, but I didn't want to be super indecisive about it, so I said, hey Cam, make a logo, make some options, and I'll pick. So he had some options and I was like, bam, okay, that one. And then we just stuck with it throughout. And so these are just the options for the logos here. This spread is documenting the hair and makeup trial. This spread is talking about what I was thinking for how the guest tables would be decorated, and I maybe went over the top with how I planned this out, but I did have like a mock table in this very room where I would just set up different configurations and see how I wanted things. So I just took pictures along the way and wrote about what I was thinking. This was a reject idea for table numbers. And on this side, just some sketches for the coasters that you see around here. These are the coasters that we ended up getting designed as our guest gifts. And so they look very similar to the initial sketches. And then this envelope is actually another reject idea for the tabletops. Flipping over, so this spread is all about the veil. My wedding dress was not a traditional white color. It was more of this like silvery, purpley, grayish color. And I did not think when I decided on that dress that everything else had to match, including the veil. Finding a veil to match was a whole situation as well. And so I just have some of the samples that I received, and I ended up getting it from an Etsy shop called Veil Beauty. They were amazing and sent more samples than what I even requested, and was able to find something that matched really well, which is actually this top one here. This spread is mostly about our sweetheart table. Once I figured out what I wanted to do with the guest tables, I cleared that all off, and then that mock table became a fake little sweetheart table, and so I had that set up here in this room. And then I even made a little hand-painted, hand-lettered block that sat in the front of the table, and this is just where I like wrote it out and then transferred the lettering onto the block. And so I think this is really special to have here. And then I have the day that we got our marriage license and certificate. And then here it is. Here is what the sweetheart table ended up looking like. There's our cake. For some reason, I thought that all of the planning of the wedding was going to fit in one insert, and I quickly realized that that was not going to be the case, so I made another one. And in between the two, I just have some photos from the wedding and getting ready here. I got a little more fancy with this insert and used some vellum just to line the insides of this insert. I think it's really pretty and classy looking. So opening this one up, we're back to hair and makeup, and these are the hair and makeup inspiration photos that I took with me to the hair and makeup trial, and I marked my favorites. So it's fun to just have those just, you know, down the line to see what I was thinking for what I wanted for my hair and makeup. We have a little bit on Cam's suit. He actually went through two. We thought we wanted one color. We went to another color, a different fit. And one of my best friends here in town hooked us up with both the dress and the suit. Here is a spread for our alcohol run. This was a big deal, and it felt really, I felt like I had to constantly be like, don't look at me weird, people. This is for an event. This is not all of our booze, but we had a cart full of booze, and I kept the receipt for that just to see what all we got. And I just think this is a really cute spread. And then for our wedding, we actually did a photo shoot a month before the actual wedding. And I wanted to do that for a couple of reasons. One reason is we live really close to White Sands National Park. And so I really wanted to get pictures at White Sands because it's just so iconic and beautiful. Also, I didn't want to disappear for 2 hours or whatever between the ceremony and the reception. So I was like, okay, let's do all our main pictures before, and then we can use those pictures for decoration, or we can use them and kind of already have them before the wedding happens. So that's what we did. And so we had a photo shoot day, had an amazing photographer come travel 2 hours or so just to do this for us. So she was amazing. And so we have just pictures here getting ready for the photo shoot right at this table. This is this table. Works out whenever you're making videos and your makeup artist needs nice lighting and a nice space to make that happen. So that was really cool. We also got wedding logo tattoos. This was totally Cam's idea, and I was on board immediately, and it was just a fun time. So we both have pictures getting the tattoo and then what it looked like immediately after. And then on this page, I just have a piece of the box of the perfume that I wore on my wedding day. And I have here, I heard somewhere that it's a good idea to choose a perfume specifically for your wedding, so you always associate the smell with those good, loving memories. And so I went with this French lavender perfume, mostly because our first kind of big trip was to France, and I love lavender. So it was just like the perfect match as far as meaning, and the scent is amazing. Okay, and then over on this page, we just have photos and a little narrative about getting ready and what that process was like. And then lots of narrative on the wedding itself. I also want to mention that these stickers, a lot of these stickers were used on the invitation suite or the save the dates. And I just think it's really special how it all comes together for this purpose, this like memory keeping purpose. Just some bullet pointed memories here. And then the next afternoon, we had a pizza and beer lunch in a little mountain town nearby. And we had so many people come and hang out with us, and it was so great. I spent most of the time crying, just super grateful for the amazing people that we know and that support us. And then that is the end of this insert. Okay, this next insert is a goulet insert, so I didn't make this one. And I actually used this as my bullet journal in another TN cover for the month of September. And I wanted to sort of move all of my planning into that TN cover just because we were moving around a lot in September, not just for wedding stuff, mostly for work stuff. And so I just thought it would be a smart move to have a traveling bujo. At this point, I don't know that I'm making this wedding planning TN. And here we're just getting into the weeklies. I think this will be fun looking back on, just to see what I was doing on a day-to-day during the wedding month. And then in the back of this insert, I had a mini future log just in case I needed to schedule something outside of September. Okay, the last section of this TN is the honeymoon section. So in the back of this insert, I have a little silhouette, a little geometric abstract silhouette of Italy. And then I have a little watercolor of Honeymoon in Italia. And this is actually my first time using the accordion insert, which was really fun. And this was also the first time that I took watercolors with me traveling, trying to do the travel journal thing while watercoloring. And I really enjoyed that as well. I got to do some painting and that was really fun. Let's see. This might be a little hard to show off on here, but I'll do my best. So we have lawn going up to Lake Como and into Switzerland, and I did a little watercolor of the fall foliage and the mountains. Oh, it was so beautiful. Some fun facts here. This is funny. So our first morning in Lucca, I found this feather in our Airbnb and there were no windows around. There wasn't, I don't know how this got there, and I still don't know how it got there, but I kept it, and maybe it's good luck, I don't know. but I did keep it, and it goes really well with this color story. So I was excited about that. So I did this just sitting out there, and met some lovely German folks that were complimenting me on painting out in the open air. So that was really fun. I just have some of the business cards of some of the restaurants we went to. Let's see. Here's another really cool business card. We had our honeymoon dinner, and I wrote down what we ordered here. And of course, had to do a little homage to the gelato. So I wrote down what kind of gelato I got. This is also watercolor, but this is the real paper cone that it came in, the kind of cone cover. Yikes. Okay, then we went to Pisa and saw the Leaning Tower. And we also went to Livorno. I got some new shoes because the shoes that I took with me were not great quality, and it was raining a lot, and the water soaked through my boots, and I had to get new shoes. We also went to Cinque Terre, and these are the towns that we went to out of the 5. And I also did a really fun watercolor of one of the towns there. Then we went to Florence, had a museum day, went to several museums, saw the birth of Venus, which was super exciting, and then also David. Okay, and then our next kind of pre-planned activity was a pizza and gelato making class in this like Tuscan farmhouse. That was so fun, and our gelato was so good. We made an egg custard gelato. It was And then we also did a Tuscan wine and food tour. Again, a super cute little watercolor up here, and I just wrote a little bit about that. And then before we made our way back to Milan, we had a little day trip to Siena, which was a very lovely town as well. And throughout, I was keeping metro tickets and napkins and lots of ephemera. A lot of the extra ephemera that I brought back with this, I put in my actual bullet journal, and you can see that in my 2023 bullet journal flip through, that when it's available, I'll link below, but I have not gotten around to filming that as of right now. So in the back here, we just have some more photos with some of our wedding guests, our invitation suite photo, Julia and Cam vinyl to kind of end it off. And then these 2 inks are from Waringal, and I ended up getting these inks during the wedding planner madness time, and they just so happen to go with the wedding color story. So yeah, after the honeymoon is when I decided to do a dedicated TN for all of these little inserts that were accumulating and just related to the wedding and the honeymoon and all of that. And so I decided to use this little leather charm that I had made for my regular travel notebook. And this is obviously on par because it is our wedding logo mark. And it had gone with us all of 2023 to all of these different places, including the honeymoon, and just getting everything planned. So I thought that was really special to have at the very front, and it just looks really nice, I think, on this TN. But yeah, I'm very happy about how this turned out, and all of these fun details will be so treasured in the years to come. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think. For more memory keeping, journal, and spread inspiration, check out my most recent life journal flip through. I will leave that for you right here, and I'll catch you all in the next one.